Hi there, and welcome back to the Cobra's Den for the collab of myself and Creative Precious Metals. We have been away for a couple of weeks, but first I want to welcome Creative Precious Metals.
Thanks, buddy. I'm back. You're back. We've had a hectic couple of weeks between us. You doing your stuff, I've been doing my stuff, but we're back. And can I
Yes,
can I just say, your setup looks really cool.
thank you, brother. I thought, look, we recently had the release of the Star Wars coins and all that. So you got the little 50p in the background there, coloured one. And then we've got the proof coin there. And I thought, yeah, let's just make it a little Star Warsy.
Yeah,
So yeah, new little setup for today.
that's really cool. Really cool. You well?
I'm good. Yeah, it has been hectic. I had to travel abroad for a week and do a load of work. There's a video going to come out about something with that. I actually took my silver kilo coin
Yeah.
and I got stopped at customs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were not happy at all.
I bet. I bet.
They were not happy at all, which I did not expect, to be honest.
No. What? Going out? Coming back? Oh no, coming
Both,
back. Obviously. Oh, really?
both, both.
Ah, right. Oh, well, that's
Both.
interesting.
Yeah, so I'll do a video on that and just explain what their reservations are about such a thing and how hard, especially how hard it was for me to keep hold of my kilo round on the way back.
That's really interesting, dude, because you're going to open a can of worms now, and I don't want to go there yet because there's something else I've got to ask you. But that's really interesting because when we talk about, or I talk about, the flight to safety, and you're taking all your wealth and whatever.
Yeah,
Not only is it a bit of a struggle taking a ton of silver, or if you're lucky enough to have a ton of silver in your bag, being hefty and cumbersome and whatever. But as you've just highlighted, didn't even think about it. Just
would you even get there?
take it. Well, you probably get there, but maybe not with what you got.
That's what I mean. Yeah, would you even get there
Um,
with silver?
so that's a nice thing about. I'm not going to say it. Bitcoin,
What?
big,
You're
big,
not
big
going to say what?
Bitcoin. Well, you don't have none of that, do you?
Well, yeah, but I've still got reservations on that one, bro.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I didn't want to. That's for
No, no, no. But
probably another time.
hey, listen, it's a subject. No, why? It's a subject that we talk about, and let's put both sides across and see where it goes. So I am
Hold on,
going to
mate.
buy some
Hold on.
Bitcoin.
I've got a
Oh,
request. I've got a request. I've got a request.
yeah, go on.
Sorry, from our last collaboration. Sorry to cut you out there, mate. But
That's all right.
from our last collaboration, I think I mentioned to you on the phone the other day. Every cloud asked a question,
All
and
right.
I couldn't answer it fully. I could answer it from my own perspective, but obviously it'd be nice if you could answer it. And that was 2 weeks ago. But obviously we haven't done one since, have we? So do you mind if I read it out? Because I said to him that I would, it'd be the first thing that we talk about on our next collabs, just so you've got, or he's got that answer. Is that okay?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, bud. He put another great video, guys. It's very kind of him. I do admire Cobra Stacker's collection. However, I would find it quite overwhelming with that much premium silver, question mark. I'm a stacker, not a collector. So I'd be quite happy with 1,000 ounces of boring Britannias bought as cheap as possible and more relatively easy to sell in the future. I'd be very interested to hear what end game you have planned. Perhaps it might help me have more confidence to buy some premium pieces in the future. At the moment, my goal is to simply keep my cost average as low as possible and build a stack over many years. Sorry, mate, it's quite long.
No, that's cool.
I can't help but notice that my approach seems to be very uncommon among UK YouTubers who also follow a similar method to yourself. What am I missing? Would love to hear your thoughts. Take care, guys. Thanks. That was nice.
Very nice. And every cloud, thank you very much for that question. And it's a very valid question and a question that a lot of new stackers and even old ones may ask. So the old school way of thinking, from what I can gather, and it's not a wrong way, it's actually legitimately good, is to stack the cheapest silver you can. And now I think what you've got to look at is back in the day, you'd go into a metal place or a coin place or whatever, and you would buy literally the cheapest silver you could, and it wouldn't matter what it looked like. It really wouldn't matter. But with social media and with the mints now in competition with each other, they all have to outdo each other in what they bring out so that they're more attractive than another mint, because we've gone more commercial on the silver. Now, still, as a stacker, I think you're absolutely correct. Picking up, as you say, the boring Britannias is the right way to go. But let me ask you, if you buy your Britannia new from, say, the Royal Mint, you're paying £32, £33 with VAT and delivery, etc. If you buy it from the Silver Forum, you can pick it up maybe £25, £24, sometimes even £23.80. I've seen them going for. Now, in the same token, there are other coins, and you're going to pay roughly the same. Now, the good thing, as you said, about Britannias are they are liquid and they are highly recognized. They are known, like the American Eagle or the Maple, highly recognized coins. And yes, again, that is another very, very good way to do it. But for me, I have also seen that the higher premium ones, though everyone says you will or you could lose your premium, that's not necessarily true. It depends on what you pick up. Yes, there is a good chance you could lose premium, but they also will go up with spot price, the same as the Britannia would, the actual value of the silver. And it's about picking bits that mean something to you. So for me, I actually started as a stacker, and I'll never forget, there was a guy within maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks of videos, and he came in on my messages and he went, "You're not a stacker, you're a collector." And I actually took offense to it. I thought, no, I'm a stacker. Why are you saying that? I'm not a collector. And he was right. And I sort of took offense to it in a way, but he was absolutely right. I'm a stacker collector. And that's, I think, the way a lot of stackers are going. So again, I think, let's say, for instance, with the Queen's Beast, even in silver, they were 2-ounce coins, and you could pick them up probably, I would have thought, 60 quid or so when they first got released. And now you're looking at, you know, if you want to sell them, you're selling them for 70, £80 a coin. So they kept their premiums and they went up. So it's about picking what you want and choosing. And I'll be very, very honest. It's like this 50p one here. Let me get in there. That is the first time I have picked up a 50p colorized coin. Now, I don't know if it will hold its value and keep its value, though Star Wars is a massive thing across the world. And therefore, yeah, people will have an interest in it. And it won't just be stackers and collectors. Anyone who's a Star Wars fan would also be a fan of that type of thing. So picking and choosing can definitely make a difference. And then a Britannia will never shoot to the moon. Whereas we saw with the Una and the Lion, or the Three Graces, that actually that coin did shoot to the moon. So you have a little bit more potential of raising. Yes, I agree, it's a bit more risky. You could lose your premium on it, but in general, they do hold their own.
So, so do you think you're missing anything?
No, not at all. I think everyone has their own strategy and way that they're going to do it. And yep. I think basic stacking is actually absolutely the correct and safest way. It's like doing the stocks. You've got your blue chip companies who are a bit more solid and a bit more safe, and people will invest in that and take a very slow rise. And you've got your stocks which are a bit more risky, and then you've got your real high risk stocks. And it's the same sort of principle, I think, that your normal straight up bullion stacking coins like the Britannia are your safe bet. They will always sell. And he's absolutely right. That is a very safe way to stack, and there is nothing wrong with that. But if you want a bit of variety, and for me, I would have got bored with stacking, and that's the honest truth, if all I got was Britannias. Tube upon tube upon tube of Britannias, they all look the same. And I would have got bored. So I wanted something different. I enjoy collecting the different coins. And if you have the budget to do it, then yeah, you know, pick and choose. I did pick up a load where I just bought them. And I think, you know, there are some which I would happily sell now just to get rid of them and refine my stacking collection a bit more. But no, he's not doing nothing wrong, and he's not missing a trick. But if you like something or you think it's nice, then I would say go for it. But your basic principle is spot on.
Paul, I think that, so I'm reading through his, because it's quite an in-depth question. Just reading through and just making sure that's should hopefully give him the answers that he's looking for to a degree. So basically what we're saying is, regardless of what you do investment wise, when it comes down to budget and goal, what you're doing it for, would you agree?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Then the next thing you do is look through the different types of investments, because obviously there's, just within silver, obviously there's the premium, the you've got to look at, you've got bullion, you've got proof, you've got nearly proof, like we've just found out. So it's looking at that as a strategy. What's my end goal? Can I achieve it doing it with this, or can I achieve it doing it with that, or can I achieve it by doing both? It's a sort of and doing a little bit of research. Would that be right?
I think you're absolutely right. I think, look, if it is purely an investment and hedge against inflation, all the usual things we'll talk about, then the basic straight up bullion is the best way to go. When you start going into proofs, you're going into numismatic or semi-numismatic coins, and there is a chance you can lose on them. Without a doubt, I have seen some proof coins, like the big kilo ones. Obviously, kilo coins are my thing. And in the kilo proofs, you can pay an extortionate amount of money for silver. And then years later, you try and sell it and you're not getting the return on it. So be more careful. That is the high risk stuff. And again, that is really going into collecting rather than just stacking when you get into proofs. But bullion wise, as I say, you're going to have higher premiums. But if it's a coin that people wanted, or it's a lower mintage bullion, I think sometimes it's worth getting. But I would never advise a stacker who's purely been stacking for weight to change his strategy based on what I'm saying or based on anything like that. Really, there is nothing wrong with what you're doing. You're not missing a trick. It is really preference.
Okay. So, but there's no, sorry, I didn't want to say but, because there isn't a but. Thanks for answering that, mate, because I couldn't answer it from your point of view.
Of course. Yeah.
So do you think, getting back to the beginning of his question, sorry, my phone keeps clicking off. Would be happy to do it would seem that he's saying that I can't help but notice that my approach seems to be very uncommon among UK YouTubers who also follow a sim. So would you say, in your observation, because I haven't observed it personally, but then I haven't been looking, that within the UK YouTube stacking collecting community, that his approach is uncommon?
I don't think so, to tell the truth. I mean, yes, some people will have bars and they might collect all the Britannia bars, or they may get a certain coin and do it like that. But I think, don't follow YouTube creators' ways of doing things. So remember, we are also making videos for an audience. And so we will pick up, I know I have definitely picked up coins just to be able to make a video. And that is not what stacking is about. So yes, of course, you can get a lot of information from the creators. You can definitely learn things, and you can learn from their mistakes and their good points and all that. So they're well worth watching. But I would not base your strategy on that. And I don't think that your way of doing things is actually uncommon. I think you'll probably find a lot of people who you haven't connected with yet, or you haven't seen, are probably doing exactly that, and it is pure stacking. But what you're seeing and what you're communicating with is more so the people who are showing content on YouTube, and therefore it's a bit more fancy or a bit more diverse, shall we say. Though again, if you go onto the Silver Forum, you will see many things up for sale. So I think there's a total mixture in the market, and I don't think any strategy is wrong, as long as absolutely what you say, you look into it, you read into it, and you do a bit of research before you dump all your money into it, or not all, but you know, a vast quantity of money into it, and just make sure you have an exit plan and make sure you understand what the possible losses could be. And if you always look at the worst case scenario, you'll be okay. And the worst case being you'll get spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. I hope every cloud, if you see this, every cloud, hopefully you do. There's your answer. If you want to explore that a little bit more, please leave a comment, obviously in Cobra's on Cobra's channel, and yeah, we'll explore it a little bit more. But that brings me on. Can I just move that into that direction, if that's all right with you, Cobra Stacker?
Go
okay?
For it. Yeah,
that moves me on. It's an interesting view about the UK stacking collecting scene. That from that, even that observation is we have a tendency to, obviously, if we're using YouTube, we're following an algorithm and that puts stuff in front of us and then we get attached to it. And then that can, do you think that could possibly blindside us a little bit from looking at things for ourselves and trying to work out what the best thing for us to do? We end up sort of maybe being influenced a little bit too much by what people are doing and not quite understanding why they're doing it, and sort of falling into that trap of, oh, I should be doing that too.
Absolutely. And I mean, this is why YouTubers are called influencers. And this is why big companies use YouTubers to advertise and to show coins and all that, because of that simple thing that there's going to be a vast amount of people who are watching what we do. Obviously, the bigger channels more so than me and you. But they're watching what YouTubers do and they are influenced by it. And as I say, you know, look at everything and enjoy it. And you know, I put out some beautiful coins and I hope you enjoy them and you get something out of them, but it doesn't mean you've got to run out and buy them. You know, I've said it several times, I'm in a lucky situation. I've worked all my life. I've got to a position where if I like something, I can buy it, but not everyone's in that. And so you don't have to follow me or Creative Precious Metals or any of the other creators in any way, shape or form. Enjoy our videos and get information, get the knowledge and sift out anything else.
I mean, I can't disagree with any of that, really. As you know, my channel's all about getting people to try and that sounds very condescending, this, think for themselves. I don't mean it that way, but educate yourselves and you know, really stand on your own 2 feet and work out what you want in life and use content to learn and understand about stuff. But definitely have a plan. Use the content. Don't follow the content to heart. We're all in different positions. And Cobra's plan, I haven't got a crystal ball to see what Cobra Stacker is going to be doing in the future or even tomorrow, you know. But what I can control is what I'm doing. But I try to use
a typical example. Sorry, I'm sorry to cut you there, but I just before I forgot it, I wanted to say a typical example of how powerful our influence can be is literally me doing a video and showing this, the watch face. And what did you do?
Oh yeah.
What did you do?
Oh no.
You went straight out there and got it, and maybe some others. And so, you know, again, there's nothing wrong with enjoying our content, and there's nothing wrong from learning from us. But yeah, make your own decisions and try and make them informed. But if you really like something and you have the budget to do it, grab it. Enjoy collecting as well. Enjoy the stacking and the collecting.
Yeah, absolutely. When I've said this as I've gone along on my channel, I've always got this core basis that I'm always trying in my own head to keep to. And yes, I do sway from it because people like Cobra Stacker tempt me with this stuff. But if he hadn't done that, and you know my interest in watches and time and bits and pieces like that, and that if you hadn't have done that, then would I have even bothered? Now I've got something that is really nice for me to admire personally, and then it's up to me whether I want 1, 2, 3, 4, none, or anything like that.
Absolutely. And this is it. You know, if you had seen it on your own and you know it hadn't come through seeing it through me,
Yeah,
you would have got it anyway.
absolutely.
You know, because it is a beautiful piece. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting some nice pieces, but I think it's exactly the same with stacking as well. There is nothing wrong with that. In fact, for pure actual investment, it's the best way, the lowest value silver you can find.
Absolutely. Don't disagree with that one. That's what I'm trying to do all the time, if I can.
Yeah, we're not doing very well with that, though. I know I'm not.
Yeah, as I said, I try to keep to that. Anyway, thank you so much for that input, buddy. And as I said, hopefully every cloud, I said I would do it, and we've done it for you. And that goes for anyone else. Hopefully we will never forget anyone's questions, and we'll always bring them up. So even though it's took sorry.
And that was an absolutely great question, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who think that way, and a lot of people who may get overly influenced. And so absolutely great question. And this is the point about the questions. They don't only make us think, but it gives information to everyone, from one stacker's point of view to everyone out there on a question they may all be asking, really.
Yeah, 100%. So cool. Where do you want to go, mate? Take me in a direction.
Well, look, you know, you took me on a direction. I'm going to take you back to Bitcoin. I have to have this discussion with you, bro.
Oh, cool.
I have to. Okay, so I'll tell you where it started off from, right? You know, we talked about the airports, and you said, well, would it be that easy to carry 1,000 ounces, let's say, of silver? You know, if everything went wrong in England, let's say, and the system broke down, you know, you couldn't easily fly with 1,000 ounces of silver over to America or wherever, a country that was okay still, should we say. And you're absolutely right. It would be very, very hard to do. But then you said to me about Bitcoin, and yeah, it's very, very easy to just take that little stick and go over to Bitcoin, go over to this other country, which might be okay, and you can cash in your Bitcoin. But if, let's say, England has fallen in the way of computers and internet and all that lot, Bitcoin's going to be affected all over the place. And I just don't know. I am going to invest in some Bitcoin. I have been looking into it. You've been a major, again, influence in this.
Oh, no. Don't do that.
You have. You have. And I want to diversify my portfolio a bit. I do have other things. I have properties and, you know, I'm okay. But Bitcoin is definitely something I want to look into. But I do have my fears over this. And again, we've said it before, I start bringing in AI because I know where that's going at the moment. And these things worry me, and CBDCs and all the rest of it, and so many things that can influence Bitcoin. So you tell me why you're so convinced, no matter what, whether it be AI, CBDCs, collapse of a system, war, or anything that could just turn off that electric, why you're still so convinced that you're safe with Bitcoin. And I know it does aggravate you sometimes when people say this, but I have to ask.
No, that's cool, mate. What aggravates me is probably I would love to have so much more knowledge to be able to answer things more technically, but I'm learning just as much as anyone else, you know. If I sort of talked about this on my last Whiskey Wednesday. Now, I was just going to pick up on what you said. I'm so convinced. Well, like I said on Whiskey Wednesday a few times, I am not convinced.
Right.
I am not 100% convinced in anything, because I personally will not be 100. Well, the only thing I'm 100% committed to and convinced about is my conversation right now. if that makes sense. You know, there's certain things in life that we do, we're pretty convinced it's happening and we've got control over. Now, if like I say, I always say on my Whiskey Wednesday, I have no control over whatever's going to happen to the financial system, full stop. I'm not born into it. I'm not a part of it. I don't sit on any boardrooms. I'm not part of that tech. I'm not a part of anything like that. So it's my job to try and work out, and I'll cut a long story short because I go into this in quite whiskey orientated depth on my last Whiskey Wednesday. But to cut a long story short, all I've tried to do is work out where we're going, where are we going from a financial point of view? And there's a lot of people want to talk about CBDCs, and I like to talk about CBDCs, but I also like to talk about Bitcoin because it's one of the two. It's one of the same thing. It's an electronic source of money, store of value, whatever you want to call it, digital gold, whatever, all going in the same direction. And that's happening. It's happening whether I like it or not. So with Bitcoin, like I said there, I've got the same strategy as what I've got with silver and gold. Exactly the same. I want to try and protect my wealth. I hate using that word because it makes me sound special, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
My investment, I want to try and protect it because I'm lucky enough to be able to put money into investment. Very fortunate. I want to be able to protect it. And what I've done is invested in silver, gold, and Bitcoin. And that's what I see personally as one, using gold because of its massive historical value. So I don't believe that's going to go away anytime soon. Silver, the same. And Bitcoin as this the closest thing that I can find that could possibly be a very good store of value like gold and silver's been in the new digital format.
Right.
Because that's where we're going. That's the way I see Bitcoin. I don't see it as anything else. There's a lot of talk about it. It could be the new money. It could be this. Well, that's fine. That I'm sure that's going to, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen quite a way down the road. You know, I'm sure the whole financial system are going to want their CBDCs and blah, 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 blah. You know, we know the story. We know the story without being too boring. So getting back to what I said to you about the airport thing, in that case scenario, and I needed to get out of the country, we'll go into the thing about the internet. I needed to get out of the country, then I haven't got, if it was just purely, if I thought, oh my God, it's Checkpoint Charlie's down the road, they're going to search me. They get, you know, I've got all my silver in my bags or my gold in my pocket. And, you know, this is really stupid, worst case scenario stuff, but people love to talk about it because it makes good news.
Yeah.
And you've just experienced it, which we're going to hopefully find out in the video. You know, that's going to make that very difficult. Now, with Bitcoin, in theory, I can see the logic and theory behind it. I don't even need my stick, as you call it.
That's because I'm ignorant and I don't understand that word.
That's fine. It's like a stick that you put in your computer. But they're my keys to my and security keys to my Bitcoin. You know, without the information, without that and your key codes, which are written in words, and there's a few words to remember, and a password, no one can get into your Bitcoin. And, you know, no one has done ever since it started. So if I was going to go like think, oh God, you know, we use numbers. I've got 100, I don't know, 100 Bitcoin sitting on there and they're worth a few billion or whatever. And you think, oh, sod it. Well, that's fine because I don't need anything. All I need is to get out the country, buy a new stick from the company that you want to buy it from, enter your passwords, enter your seed words, back. There you are. You've got it.
And then where do you sell Bitcoin if you want to cash it in? Because not everywhere accepts Bitcoin, correct?
No. I mean, that's slowly being more and more. I mean, if you go to El Salvador, you can basically use it for most things.
Right.
But in theory, you have an exchange. Do you know, like if you want to change your money up from pounds to euros or dollars or whatever, rupees, is it? Rupees? Wherever you go, or yuan, you can go and get some CBDCs if you want to go to China. You go to an exchange, don't you?
Right.
And you exchange your pounds for dollars or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And there's exchanges out there that you can buy and sell your Bitcoin on. But there's
is that on a computer? And again, please excuse my ignorance, but is that on a computer or is that a shop?
Oh, no. Again, I don't want to go out of the field of my knowledge scheme,
Right.
But yes, there's an exchange that you can use your phone to go on it. I use my phone quite a bit if I want to buy any, or I've actually sold some just to see the process. And it all worked. You can use your phone, you can use a computer. So you can see that versatility of it when everyone's flipping got phones around the world. So yeah, you can buy and sell, but slowly people are starting to accept Bitcoin for certain things. Like there's in certain parts of the world, you can go and get a drink with Bitcoin. You can go and buy a coffee with Bitcoin. If I wanted to say quite easily, and we spoke about this the other day, if you can find me something I'm looking for and you want to be paid in Bitcoin, as long as you've got the app on your phone or your app on your computer or access to whatever app you're using, all you need to do is send me an exclusive one-off piece of code in and send it to me, and I'll send you your Bitcoin. So you've got that peer-to-peer exchange already, and it's happening. So whether that's going to be adopted, it seems to be, and it seems to be adopted quite a bit. It's quite interesting when you look on the blockchain and look at who's holding Bitcoin. Well, not exactly who's holding Bitcoin, but where Bitcoin transactions are going on, the big ones. It's interesting to see like certain corporations starting to buy it, certain banks starting to hold it, certain big institutions like BlackRock starting to push out, oh, I think we're doing ETF in this on spot Bitcoin. So there's a lot of stuff going on that we don't see. All we see half the time is all like the FTXs, the scandals, the scamming. And believe me, that all that goes on, but it goes on with fake silver, fake gold, fake watches. Whenever a human's involved and greed and fear and all that's involved, it doesn't matter what you're trying to do. Someone to sell you a shitty car if they can, or a fake this or a fake that. It's nothing new. It's what us stupid humans do, you know. So getting back to
let me ask you,
I just want to answer your question on the internet. Well, I didn't know because from Camel, who you know I follow, well, not follow, I watch his videos and whatever. Hopefully, I'm going to get him on the channel. And he's so much more qualified to answer all this stuff. I answered a few of his questions, and one of the things he said, thank you for going through that. He was saying, which I didn't know about. Let me just read it. It's a hard question, as I shouldn't really pick one asset, but I agree I would want all three too, because he asked me if I could only ever have one asset going forward in the future, what would it be? And I found it really difficult to answer. I couldn't get away from Bitcoin, silver and gold really. So that's why he said, but I agree, I would want all three. I guess if I had to pick one, he would choose Bitcoin, but gold and silver would probably be better if the internet went down. Then he put, and I didn't know this, although that said, whilst all hell would likely break loose, Bitcoin does have nodes in space, so it can still process transactions ready for when the internet is back on.
Interesting.
So I didn't know that. Yeah. So the technology is moving on so quickly. You know, they're thinking of, oh, what if this happens? What's that?
So they are thinking of that as a possibility, and they're countering it.
Absolutely, yeah. And then he puts,
so one other question I had for you is like, when we stack or collect gold and silver, we have to sell it to an individual, whether it be a private buyer or whether it be to a bullion shop. But we have to sell it to someone. When you want to say cash in on Bitcoin, is it like stocks and shares where you just sell your Bitcoin, or do you have to sell it to a person or a company?
You do what you want with it, mate.
No, but I'm trying to understand how it works.
Oh, right, okay. So if you want, say Marks and Spencer's accepted Bitcoin. And they had the infrastructure like a tap and go Bitcoin service. Getting back to the other Bitcoin, how to buy it. There's certain places around the world where you can put in your dollars and it'll give you it'll give you Bitcoin in return as a code that then you put onto your wallet. So you can actually, there's cash machines that do that as well. So it's quite interesting when you actually do the research, what actually is going on and being built. But going back to what you were saying, this is no different to walking into Marks and Spencer's. If Marks and Spencer's had a terminal to accept Bitcoin direct, like their own wallet system or whatever to accept it, then I could pay a tap and go with Bitcoin. And there's certain places around the world that let you do that. If I wanted to sell it for, dare I say it, the wonderful fiat currency, never, because we all know what's going on with that. But if I wanted to, which I did recently, just to test the process, the whole process took through an exchange. I think the money was back in my normal bank account within an hour and 10 minutes.
Right. And that's what I was asking, because again, it's trying to understand, and for the audience out there who have never dealt with Bitcoin, giving them sort of ideas. So it's a bit like stocks, where you're not selling it to anyone as such. It's going into an exchange and you get your money for it.
Yeah, like if you went to the post office with your euros, you give them the euros and they give you the money.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. That is dealing with an individual in the post office. What I'm saying is, like with gold and silver, you'd have to go to a bullion dealer or you'd have to sell it to a second-hand market.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm talking about if you want to cash in. So let's say you buy Bitcoin at 25,000 a Bitcoin, it goes to 85,000 a Bitcoin, and you want to sell it. You can sell it.
Sell it to an exchange.
That's right. That's what.
Or you might say, CPM said my name, but I don't care. CPM, I'll buy it off you. And I say, okay, send me the money, I'll send you that. Just like you would buy a piece of silver for someone.
Yeah, but you can always sell it, is my point. You can always sell it. You can always cash it out. Whereas, say, with a gold coin, if it was a particular one, I might not be able to sell it.
Exactly.
And so that it's a bit more fluid in that way, a bit more liquid in that way, that you can cash it in at any point and you don't have to have an individual buyer for it.
It was a really interesting experiment, because it was really interesting for me personally, because all I ever done was buy the stuff and store it, obviously cold off the internet, so it's totally away from everybody. And probably when I was going through the process, okay, I haven't sold any gold, I haven't sold any silver. And I thought, oh my God, and I looked at it, I thought, how do I sell my silver if I need to? How do I sell my gold if I need to? Well, it's a bullion shop, a pawn shop, silver forum, but I've got to literally probably either get off my backside and go there by transport, okay, or I've got to send it in good faith and get the money back. Yeah?
Yeah.
With me?
Yeah.
So, and that can take, well, you told me you've done it. I don't know what it can take.
The silver, and again, you know, I sound like I'm preaching about the silver forum. I'm not.
Fine.
It's just because it's so good. Now, if you wanted to go to a bullion store, absolutely, Shards Atkinson's will buy your stuff, probably at spot, maybe 1% or 2% more, maybe 1% or 2% less. But you would either have to travel there, or, as you say, post it out, which 2 to 3 days to get there for them to assess it and then put money in your bank. Silver Forum, on the other hand, you take photos of it, upload it to Silver Forum, and if it's a piece that people want, you can sell it nigh on instantly, and the money's in your bank, and then you have to go out and post it the next day or the same day if you have time. Or it may take a day or two to sell. It may take a week. Sometimes you see people who aren't selling, you know, the item they've got is not selling, and it takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and suddenly it's sold. So yes, this is what I'm trying to say. With Bitcoin, it sounds like it's a lot more instant and liquid compared to gold and silver. Though I do like to have gold and silver because I like that asset in my hand or in my safe close by in that way. And I think it's just an age thing where I don't understand Bitcoin. And this is why I'm trying to learn from you and from YouTube. And I will, maybe in the next week or so, get you to help me to set up whatever I've got to set up and buy a load. And I might do a little video on that just to show the comparisons of buying gold and silver with Bitcoin or selling either of them. But I think it's worth diversifying into. From what I can understand of it, it is there to stay. It's not going to run away. I don't think it will be affected from some of the things I've learned. buy CBDCs as well, because it is outside of the system, and that is what people like about it.
Mm.
And it is very quick or instant to cash in if you need to.
Oh, mate, yeah, that was my whole thing. I thought, oh God, let's try it, and I did, and it was about an hour and 10 minutes from transferring it back onto an exchange, and then you put it onto an exchange, and then you opt whether you want to keep it on that exchange, which I don't recommend to anybody, because people can if they want, but we all saw what happened to FTX and everything. Self-custody, like we all want to own our own personal physical silver and gold. I want to have the same feeling with my Bitcoin. So yeah, I sent it to an exchange on my account on the exchange, which is normally nothing unless I'm buying. And as soon as I buy it, it sits in my account on the exchange, and then I transfer it into my cold storage. I just sent it over there, and I thought, okay, let's have a go. Let's sell it, see what happens. And I was thinking, oh God, I wonder how long it took. And as I said, an hour and 10 minutes, my phone went notification, bang, it was in there. And I thought, whoa, that was cool. I didn't have to do anything other than obviously learn the process, which I've learned over time. And two, press a few buttons. It's mad, but those pressings of buttons is what we're all doing anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's no different, really. It's just.
Well, I mean, this really highlights the pros and cons of gold and silver compared to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And both have their good points and bad points, without 100%. A doubt.
Yeah.
And so it's something I've got to look into more, definitely.
Which is why you find. Sorry, I just finished it off. Which is why I find why you find the true believers in historical investing and future investing like all three.
Yes.
Because it covers all three.
Yes. The ancient to the modern.
Yeah, it covers all the different case scenarios. Now, if I was 96 and I thought, oh, every day's a blessing, I probably wouldn't be worrying about Bitcoin at all. Well, I probably wouldn't be worrying about anything. But you see my point,
Yes.
But if I've got a chance of not only maybe if adoption takes place, the possibility like the internet did, or I know I'm banging on about all this, but I look at it all the same, if adoption takes place and there's a possibility of me dipping my pond in it and making myself a bit of money and storing a bit of value, and then if I don't need it, passing it on to my kids to then use or not use, and then they, my grandchildren, then why wouldn't I?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, it's a very interesting subject, without a doubt. The other one I wanted to get to is the UK market, the UK gold and silver market.
Yeah.
What sort of changes do you reckon you've seen? What have you been going for now? 8 months, 5 months, 6 months? How long have you been going?
Yeah. Crikey, time flies by, didn't it? I think it was last September.
Okay.
Last September. It was last March. Has got into Bitcoin.
No. I mean, I'm talking now about the gold and silver.
Yeah. Sorry, there's correlation between it all because it was all very close to each other.
Right.
I think I started to get heavy in all of my investments from August, September last year.
All right.
But before then, I was dabbling my feet and trying to learn.
Yeah.
So my observation was the confusion in my own mind of what I was trying to do more than anything. But I would say what I'm looking at now is an ever-changing world that I personally, from the limited amount of knowledge and time that I put into it, am forever confused about how this system works. Because as I was saying to you the other day, I couldn't work out, when people always say there's a correlation between the US dollar going down and gold normally responds. Well,
yes.
And silver does respond, but it normally responds around the gold, but gold would normally respond quicker and better. Now that hasn't happened. It did very quickly, funny
Yeah.
enough, after we was talking about it. But if you bring up a 3-month chart and look at silver and look at gold, silver's been going down, gold's been going down, and then the dollar probably over the last 2 or 3 days has started to really drop. So I've been really expecting, well, okay, gold's been increasing very, very slowly, but silver's just gone boom, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, gold
movement-wise?
even I would say gold has even dropped a bit more here and then. And then, I mean, what are we at, 1495 roughly? I haven't checked it today, but 1495. But I think the markets are watching the dollar at the moment, and they're watching the Fed, because there was talk about the Fed putting 2 more interest rises in within the year to combat inflation. There's now also talk of a different way round, that the Fed will actually ease interest rates and do another massive pump of dollars into the system and ease the whole system. And this is, they have to, I mean, really, they have to, until anything's ready for any other way of doing it.
Yeah.
But I think this is why gold has sort of remained low and static pretty much at the moment. And I think over the next month or so, we'll see which way the dollar's going, or what the US does, and that could then boost static or lower gold accordingly.
Yeah, that makes tons of sense to me, because when you look at it, although I'll say I'm no expert, when you look at it and you try and look at it logically, when it doesn't start to do the logical things that you think should happen, I ask myself a question: why would that be? And then how you just explained that, if there's that much anticipation of, oh, what's going to really happen next, is the dollar going to fly out down to even more lows? How's that going to affect if they start pumping billions more into the system? How, as we all know, when they do that, we don't see the effects of that with the inflation rates for 6, 7, 8, 12 months,
Absolutely.
maybe 18 months.
This is the point. Yeah.
So I always get that feeling now that there's a lot of liquidity out there, probably just sitting there thinking, what's the best thing to do? It's almost like the scales are ready to tip one way or the other, and everyone's possibly waiting. And so we're not seeing that, what we would normally expect to happen in this sort of situation, because maybe that means that the results could be more dire than what we think.
This is actually, I feel this is a very pivotal moment in world economics, an absolutely pivotal moment. We've known for years and years and years that fiat currency is going in the wrong direction. And at some point, they have to adjust the system, scrap the system, or whatever. I don't think it's yet. And that is what people are waiting to see, how bad or how good or how much America will save the dollar, which it will. It will again. It won't let it fall, I believe. And I think that there is a lot of intrepidation and a lot of people waiting to see exactly what you said, waiting to see which way it's going to go, and then they can decide what they're going to do with their investment.
100%. And going, dare I say this all plays into the hands of, they want the CBDC system out.
They do, but I don't think they're quite ready.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
People are quite ready for it.
I'm just going to change the battery. Carry on talking, mate. I'm just going to change the battery in my phone. Camera, sorry.
Yeah. So as I say, I don't think people are ready for it, and I don't think countries are ready for it yet either. It has to be developed, and people have to understand it more, because if they release it, it's all well and good releasing it, but if people won't accept it and go with it, it won't fix in, it won't take off. And so there's more work to be done, without a doubt.
Yeah, definitely. And it just makes sense. It just totally makes sense. That, I still personally believe, you know, what Rishi Sunak said in this country, by 2025, they want a CBDC. And he didn't say that publicly on record for no reason. That's definitely on the cards. And we're a little way away from that there now. So there's a lot of stalling. There's a lot of shadowy work probably going on in the background. Quite rightly, that's the job of all those people. But it just leaves everyone in that sort of, oh, what do I do? What do I not do? Is this the way forward? Is
Rishi Sunak, he's been an advocate of CBDCs right from the beginning.
Yeah.
When he was he Chancellor of the Exchequer, or
he was, yes, when Boris Johnson was
and in. he was talking about it then, and he is a strong advocate for it. And we have seen adverts for jobs in certain sections of CBDCs within the government. And so, you know, we are definitely going that way. There's no two ways about it. It's just about them crossing the T's and dotting the I's and getting it all right. And then we'll see it.
Absolutely. So dare I say this? So my philosophy is, if I believe in this, then this is my time to try and carry on stacking and buying.
Well, that's what I'm doing anyway.
Absolutely.
Do you know, the thing is, you were absolutely right in what you said, right? I can't change anything, or I can't do anything about it. And when it comes out, we have to learn to live with it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's exactly what you just said. Gold and silver has been that force for thousands of years that has given some stability to finance. And so I do truly feel that no matter what happens, CBDCs, no CBDCs, fiat's carrying on, fiat's crashing. BRICS nations starting up their own currency and the dollar dropping because of that. No matter what way you look at it, gold and silver will still hold that value. And for me, and look, again, we've said it before, we're not financial advisors, and we probably don't know as much as it may sound like we do. You know, we're in the same boat as everyone else, learning and just muddling our way through it. But I do feel, and it is about how you feel. I feel comfortable with gold. I do. I feel comfortable with it. I said it before, the Indians have valued gold for centuries, thousands of years. Gold has been used in all sorts of ways, and has been valued in all sorts of ways. And that's sort of, in a way, inbred into me. So, yeah.
So, yeah, and that's a really interesting point there, Cobra Stacker, because when you look at that historically through a culture that has still looking at, because you've spoken about it to me a few times, about they use gold in not just a way that I would look at gold, but in a very deep cultured, generational way of life. So I would look at that and think, you're not going to get rid of that, are you, just overnight?
There's absolutely no chance. I mean, let's say, for instance, India's got the biggest population. You know, we're all over the world as well. And everywhere that there is Indian people, you will find gold. You will find gold shops. I have been trying to get down to my one to do a bit of filming, but I just haven't had the chance yet. But it is so deep-rooted in the culture, so deep-rooted that all gifts or many, many gifts are gold. When you get married, you're given gold as a type of dowry system, or as a inheritance, say, for the girl before the father's died. I mean, I can go deeper into it, but that's a long story. Any of the festivals, they will give gold as presents, and it's so ingrained into the system. India is one of the biggest buyers of gold in the world on a regular basis. So, you know, there are cultures out there which are very strongly based in gold. I was taught from a little child by my dad, always buy gold, always buy gold. The only difference is it was always in jewelry. And many of you would have seen, hang on, I don't know if I can get around there, that's 22 carat and just under or just over 300 grams or ounces. Grams. 300 grams of 22 carat. So just say a couple of hundred grams under half a kilo of 22 carat gold. Now, jewelry, the only thing with it is, with the Indians, yeah, you'll buy it, but they do put on labor, and it's the same with English jewelry or any jewelry. You get a labor cost in it as well, so you lose value in that way. But I had a bracelet that was bought when I got married for £1,000, and I put it into this one, melted it down and put it into this one, and it was worth about 4,500 when I did that, and that was just only a few years, difference. 10 years from buying it.
Absolutely. But, it's just purely because of that. When I look at things logically, you're not going to get rid of that out of a culture. And I'm sure there's many different cultures around the world that value gold in a very different way to what we do. You're just not going to get rid of it. So is it going anywhere? No. So do I need a part of it? Yeah. Same with silver. If it's got a massive industrial use, is it going to go anywhere? No. Tech needs it. Advancement, innovation needs it. Cars, all the policies that the government's come out with about global warming and all that renewable, is it going to go anywhere? No. But at the same time, do we need CBDCs? No. But the system obviously needs CBDCs in their infinite wisdom. Yes. Yeah, so go more electronic. This is me being stupid. So what do I want? If there's going to be a digital asset that's worth investing in, that's got, a real good chance of being a success, then I want a part of that. Yeah. So it's logical. It's so logical.
Yeah, your way of thinking is logical. It is, absolutely. And again, we've said it before, I'll say it again. I think diversifying in your assets, diversifying in your investments is absolutely imperative, because you hedge against each of them. So if one goes down, the other one may be going up. And it's the same thing. It's that old saying, isn't it? All your eggs in one basket. You don't want all your eggs in one basket, because if something goes to that one thing, then it all goes. And the other thing is, I learned this many, many, many years ago from a multi-millionaire. And he said to me, Cobra Stacker. Well, he didn't say that because that wasn't my name. But he said to me, he said, Cobra Stacker, he goes, always have several sources of income. He goes, if you have just one and that goes wrong, you have nothing. But if you have several sources, then, you will never lose. And he was absolutely correct. At the time of COVID, when it hit, I had 4 running businesses, and 3 of them had to close down. But the security firm carried on, and actually got extremely, extremely busy in that period. And this is it. So it's several sources of income while you're earning, and diversifying your investments when you're investing. And I think they're the keys.
Yeah, and of course they teach us all that sort of stuff in school to us, don't they, about having multiple streams of income. So I'm being facetious there. Of course they don't.
Well, I was just going to say, do you actually think they teach us anything in school about finances and managing it and saving and investing?
Well, they didn't when I was at school, mate.
And they didn't when I was there. And I don't think they do now. I think they're more interested in teaching you woke ideology. But hey, that's another subject.
Yes, mate, we won't go there.
No, right. we won't go there.
Come on, let's upbeat this. We've put the world to rights on those things.
Yeah. Go on, sure. I'll leave it to you. Open up next.
I would love to have a quick chat about the UK stacking community.
Well, I tried to do that and you went on a different tangent.
I know, mate. That's me, though, isn't it? But you let me do it. You shouldn't let me do it. You shouldn't let me do it. This is what we do. Guys, everyone that's watching, this is what you're seeing is mine and Cobra Stackers. This is the sort of stuff we talk about on the phone, isn't it?
Absolutely. The trouble is, we get on the phone and it's just to say a little hello, how you doing, bruv? What you've been up to and all that lot. And the next thing, an hour and a half later, we are going into depth in AI technology and ethical AI, and the computers could do this and that and the other. And it just goes from one subject to the other. And they are absolutely amazing conversations. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, they are, buddy. And, we always tie in. I don't know your personal investment strategy like you don't know mine, but we always tie in how we can improve what we're doing. And I'll be honest with everybody here, we never fail to talk about how we're going to achieve to move our experiences to help others and young people to try and do what we're doing now, but when you're 20s or, you know, at a young age type thing, you know.
And do you know where that comes from with me, bro, is that, honest to God, if I had someone giving me a bit of advice at 20, I don't know whether I would have listened to it or not.
Yeah.
But the point is, if I had someone who could have guided me right, honestly, I'd be in a very, very different situation to what I am now. I mean, as I say, please don't get me wrong. I'm very happy with my life and I'm comfortable. I'm not saying that. But it could have been extremely, extremely different if someone who was 50 years old at that time and been through life a bit actually sat me down and said, right, look, Cobra, this is what you can do. This is how you can do it. And these are good ideas and good ways to make money, keep money, invest money, and protect your money.
Yes, mate. I can't disagree. I can't disagree. And this is why, you know, I know you've got children. I've got children. And I want to try and, if they want to listen to me, of course, which they seem to, especially, you know, they'll come to dad when they want to know something. So it's really cool to be able to share that with, I don't want to be anyone else's dad. It's bad enough having 3 of my own, but but that mentality is still the same. I want to share those ideas so people can sit there and go, wow, what an idiot, you know, or they go, well, I didn't think of that. Or they might be have taken it on board through our videos, through my videos, through your videos, taken on board, forgot about it, but then been in a situation and thought, oh my God, I remember someone talking about that. Was that Cobra Stacker, or was that was that Craig? And then it ignites it. And then job is done. My job is done, you know?
Yeah.
But getting back to, because this, guys, this is how easy it is for me and Cobra Stacker to just go off. Getting back to what I was saying, the UK stacking community. Now, I have only been a part of this UK stacking community for a very short period of time, and I've been vocal for a very short period of time. But like on my last video that I did yesterday, was it? Yeah, it was yesterday. Yeah, I think we're at a point. You say that I said to you on the phone, didn't I? I said I've got a feeling that the community is really moving on and changing by the many different personalities getting involved now. Would you say?
Well, I think, I mean, it's growing from what I can see. And I think if you, a really good example of it is like Backyard Bullion started a few years back with the actual video and the content and all that sort of stuff. And I think he was probably one of the only ones in the UK. And he is probably the best person to actually say about the growth. Now, obviously, it's not just about creators, it's about the people who are stacking in the UK themselves. And I think that is growing as well. And if you compare us to the US market, I mean, the US is just on another level with it. The amount of people who understand about stacking, and they have their coin stores, which they can go. And we don't have anything like that over here in the UK. No. We don't have coin stores. You mentioned pawn shops, but you know, they're a rip-off. They're a rip-off when you're buying, and they're a rip-off when you're selling. So we don't have that as such. We only have a couple of major bullion dealers, but still you are seeing a growth in the people in the UK. And I spoke to one gentleman, he's up in Scotland, and I believe he's just started, and he's started jumping on the YouTube stuff and commenting on a few of our creators from the UK, commenting on their stuff. And it's good to see new people coming in. It really, really is.
It's amazing, mate. I think from my observations, it's, you know, what is why I said what I said yesterday. It's so, I'm so lucky to be a part of something that, you know, could eventually become what we see goes on across the pond in America, where we can see gold and silver more in the normal communications between people as a general rule. And if I can play a very small part of that in the UK, that'd be really cool.
I would love to see it grow. The community, and I've said this before, I think I'm sure you have as well. there's a different thing with the community with gold and silver stackers,
Hmm.
and it's either because we've got to a certain point where we're logically thinking about our lives, and we're not just out there, say, getting drunk and partying and doing whatever. Even the young'uns who are joining this sort of thing, like your son, obviously has got his head screwed on a bit because he's thinking about his future, maybe his kids or whatever, but he's thinking about those sort of things. And so the people in these sort of communities are on that sort of level. I mean, you can have a laugh, you can have a joke. No one's saying you can't. I'm not saying, oh, we're all so serious
Yeah.
that all we think about is gold and silver. But what I am saying is, I don't know, they're a bit more logical and I think decent in a lot of ways. I don't know if I should say it like that, but yeah, I know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and also we've got British culture. British culture is quite reserved, and I don't know about yourself, but not that not that I was brought up with much money, but whenever I was like when I was young, I was always hearing, "Oh, you don't talk about people's finances, and you don't talk
Yeah,
about this, and you don't talk about that." So that's a generational thing, and there's a big difference between Mrs. CPM and me. I'm quite happy to talk about part of what I do structurally, financially, not to great depth, but whereas she is so reserved, it's unbelievable. She won't talk about anything
it's
like that.
actually really, really funny you say that,
Yeah,
because we were brought up in the same way. Again, I'm from the same sort of era as you, and it was like you don't talk about your personal business, your finances, and all that lot.
yeah,
Keep it close to your chest. Now, I'm very similar to you. I don't mind. I mean, I'm not going to go into depth and say I've got £80 and 52 pence in my bank or something,
yeah.
but I don't mind talking about slight investments I'm doing or what angle I want to take or where I'm going with things. I've got no problem with that. And my Mrs. Cobra Stacker, is exactly the same as yours. She
Weird.
does not like to tell anyone anything. And in
Yeah,
some ways, it's good. She goes, I just want to keep it private. I mean, I was very surprised when she said I could use her video or her face in my video the other day, which was hilarious. But yeah, she don't like to talk about anything personal, not at
mm.
all, which I
Yeah,
respect. I do respect that as well.
yeah. It's definitely that's the beauty of living in a so-called free Western country, isn't it, or wherever in the world,
Yeah,
to be able to be who you want to be. That's another video. Um,
yeah,
and act the way you would like to act within the laws of the land, obviously.
of course.
But yeah, I think with the UK, we're very sort of reserved, very
I
reserved
agree.
about what we've got. I mean, some people are really blingy and just throw out whatever, but it's not that. I wouldn't have said that's the rule. I would say the rule is normally, okay, I'm only prepared to tell you a tiny bit or show you a tiny bit because that's the way I want to be. And whereas in America, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but it seems more full in your face, and they don't
Mm.
seem to be as reserved. But is that because of historical or over here in the UK, we've got a ton of history, haven't we? Going back thousands of years. Maybe in America.
I don't know how reserved or unreserved they are. I mean, when I watch the American creators, you know, they're very similar to us in their displays or whatever. I think I've gone flamboyant with my displays just because I like,
Yeah.
I don't know, a bit of plant life and a bit of other things. But it's just a few coins out there and a few bits and pieces and all that. I don't know. It's a really awkward one. I don't think it's a bad thing to be slightly reserved.
No.
I don't think it's bad. I think people get jealous as well, which is a pity because I've always been the type that if someone's doing well, be happy for them, and work to achieve goodness for yourself. But I think sometimes you'll find people do get jealous and don't always feel good for you. So I don't know. I don't know, and I don't know honestly what the US are like with that. Really,
Yeah, what sorry, I probably didn't put it across properly. I don't mean like they're very flamboyant and showing everything. I mean, some people are obviously, but they're very open to talk about it.
yes, yeah,
That's
I
what I mean.
understand.
That's different.
Yeah,
Whereas, like when I look at like that's the same as me and my wife. I will talk about it, but she won't talk about it at all.
right. I got you. My
It's
apologies. I
none of
get what you.
it's none of your business type thing, you know. She will
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
none of
yeah.
your business, no one else's business, not the kids' business, it's no one, it's mine. And if I'm honest with you, I might tell you, and that's me.
Yeah.
So, but that's how reserved she is, which is quite a big British thing, I think.
I think you're right. I think
And
you're
that's
right.
fine. Whereas what I view in America is they're very open about money and open about or I'm not saying everybody, obviously, but from what I have observed, which is only a tiny bit, obviously, that's the sort of observation you get, you know. So if you're pretty open about it, your network of talking about it is going to be big, isn't it? Because people like
Yeah.
talking about it. Whereas in the UK, maybe that's not the issue. Maybe that's why. It's because people may not feel comfortable talking about certain aspects of finance.
No, true, but we have got. I think the UK creators are expanding massively, and every new creator will get some more following in the UK, and it may adjust everything around us in the way people perceive gold and silver, and in the way they think about it as an investment. So I think we're growing. If you look at a lot of the UK creators now, apart from say Backyard Bullion, we're all quite new. Some have shot up there like 365 Days of Silver because he puts so much into it and makes so many videos. You know, I take my hat off to the geezer because honestly, I haven't got the time to make videos at the pace that he does. So he's got a great following. It's expanded really good. Stack Collector is so knowledgeable in older coins and certain things he does as well. Future Investments have joined them. They do a wicked collab and wicked lives. And so we're getting out there more to people. And that can only be a good thing, I think. With all of us working together, helping each other, we're getting a message out there without influencing. I don't want to influence too much and tell people this is what you must do and you must buy gold and silver now. That's not what I'm talking about. But just explaining what we do and explaining the possible value to it, I think is a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think you explained that perfectly, mate. Yeah, for sure. I'm just so excited at my stupid old level to play a tiny little piece in that excitement of watching the UK community grow. I really am.
But every one of us is that tiny cog, and when you put it all together, we are a massive machine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and we are, bro. And that's the way I look at it. And again, this is the beauty of the community and the creators and the viewers, because you can't forget the amount of support we get off them with comments, with things they say, and I'm going to do a video. I mean, this will come out after the video I do probably, but I'm going to do a video because a gentleman out there has sent me something from Australia.
Really?
From Australia. And I just think the support worldwide really is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And, you know, if even in the general public and the way we live our lives, we can't support each other, this community is on a different level. It really, really is. And I think if we keep supporting each other, all we can do as this big machine is grow.
Yeah, definitely, mate. That's why I keep getting excited.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I really do. I really, really do. Yeah, mate. So that's really cool. Yeah, the more we can do our level and an individual level and collective level, which brings me on to, I've got to bring it up, Stack Collectors 24-hour.
Oh yeah,
man, what?
Yeah,
I mean, who else is doing that? who else have even thought of that? Would anyone
Listen,
have thought
listen.
of that if it wasn't a growing community? You know, the real personalities are coming out, and I'm
Yeah,
sure it'll be well supported.
100%, 100%. I think it'll be absolutely brilliant. I take my hat off to him as well. What a great idea. And he wants to do something with charity for it.
Yeah.
And I think that's great as well. 24 hours, I know the viewers will support. I know the creators will support him. I know he's got our backing 100%. So whatever he needs in that way, you know, we're going to be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have to push that so everyone knows about it. So when he does it, if he's doing it for charity, we can get everyone to support him one way or another and really help whatever charity he chooses.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm, you know, from the very few people that I regularly follow, I know everyone's going to do that automatically because they're the type of people they are, you know. And I think it's that will be a lovely catalyst to bring recognition to for people, even if you know, it just pulls in people to watch. They're now starting to watch and ask questions and, oh, who's that? Who was that person on there? Or who was that person donated? Oh, I might have a look. And then it just grows and grows and grows. So the nucleus of what he suggested, he probably realizes it, but I would say it's going to be a very powerful thing for the community and the expansion of the community in the UK. Especially.
Absolutely. And you know, the funny thing is also what he said, I have to bring this up, it's not so deep as what we've just been talking about.
Yeah.
But he said about unveiling his face or doing a face reveal. And me and you have talked about that several times, as in that the stacking creators are so into a set format, you know, displaying and showing, and it has changed. And 365 was right. He introduced a couple of things and we've started developing our stuff and moving on from there. But I don't know. I've thought about doing a face reveal and just permanently doing my videos with a little box of my face talking, because I just think it's more personable to do that. And I know people have a fear because obviously what we're keeping and what we're stacking and collecting of showing your face. I don't have that fear. I don't know. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm silly and I should, you know, keep it a secret what I look like. But I have thought about it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's an interesting psychological thing going on here. I would like to say I've seen your face and I would prefer it if it wasn't on there.
You bastard.
And you see my face and it definitely should not be exposed to the world.
What they say, I've got a face for radio, right?
Mate, no, sorry. I think I know you good.
Oh yeah,
you know, enough to be able to say that now, and by all means, give me a kick in whenever you want to.
Nah.
Verbally or whatever. I really don't know. No, that's funny. Yeah, there's a massive psychological thing there. It's really interesting that he mentioned it. Now, I'm not sure if anyone else actually thinks about it, but I've personally thought about it too. And I think it's really healthy to actually debate in your own mind, you know, because it makes you think. And if you can think it through rationally and come up with, okay, what's the worst can happen? What's the best can happen? Does it matter? Does it not matter? All the different questions you put through your mind. And then I will totally respect anyone's decision to do what they're doing. But from an old Git point of view, I find it a little bit frustrating. Just sometimes, again, culturally, which goes on to another subject. Culturally, I've always been used to communicating, and I've always found it easier if I had eye contact with the person I'm talking with. Yeah. So I do find this a little bit strange, although I do enjoy it too. But then this is where I think we mentioned it the other day, that I could quite easily, not quite easily, because I find it very difficult with my old brain, but I know that I could almost imitate that on a Zoom call, on an OBS call, and actually put an avatar in the place of me if I wanted to.
I may do it, but I may make it a bit of an event like I'll let the Stack Collector do whatever he's doing first, because he's come up with it, he said it, and then I may make some sort of event of it, shall we say,
Yeah.
of a face reveal, like Stack Collector is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, so interesting times where everyone's thinking about things, which I think is really healthy, to be fair. Very, very healthy.
Absolutely.
Very, very healthy.
Yeah, I think the other thing I came up with was in September the 2nd, we've got the London Coin Fair. And I'd definitely love to get a load of us together, viewers and stackers, and sort of creators. I mean, sorry. And if anyone's up for it, contact me, email me, because I think we should get together. I've got no issue with that.
Yeah, definitely. It's all a learning curve. It's all exciting. It's all changing. Everything changes, you can't you can sit still forever if you want to, but we're all individuals. We all like doing stuff, and as long as there's no harm done, then I'm always up for whatever anyone wants to do, really, within a degree or two.
No, I think it'll be good. I think we've got to get a few of us together and get to know each other on a level.
Yeah, cool. So. Cool.
Well, what do you think? Should we call it on that one?
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half, mate. So
wow.
It flies by, doesn't it? It's ridiculous.
It does.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Cool. Well, look, I want to thank everyone who's watched. And if you stuck around for an hour and a half listening to two old gits having a little chit chat about life and putting the world to rights, thank you very much indeed. If there's any questions or comments, anything you want to ask about this conversation or any others, please feel free to do that. I want to thank Creative Precious Metals. Thank you for your time, brother. It's always great chatting to you. And let's see how this comes out.
Yeah, cheers, buddy. Thank you very much. I love these things. I'm gonna have to sort my tech out a little bit better. That's for sure. But that's all part of that learning curve. Thank you very much for everyone that's watched. I've got a great question. If you've watched this far, I would like people to put in the comments the very last stormtrooper that you've seen in Cobra Stacker's video. Which hand is he holding up to his face, left or right? That way we know you've watched till the end. But no, seriously, thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to Cobra Stacker subscribers. Without we would do this anyway, but it's so great that you come along, you watch, you comment. And for all the people that don't even comment or interact, they probably just watch, we thank you. We thank you very much for coming along and enjoying the journey with us both as individuals and together.
Absolutely great stuff. And don't forget, guys, this one will be shown or is being shown on my channel, but please go over to Creative Precious Metals, support his channel. He does some amazing videos, and like, share and subscribe.
Yeah, definitely. Cheers, mate. And likewise, if you're visiting me for the first time, or if you haven't heard of Cobra Stacker, well, you've been living under a rock. Look after yourselves.